What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about that TEEP that BUAKAW has that fires people across the ring, but can also hit them right in the head and knock them out cold. It's a mean thing. Before we jump into our intro, quick word from our episode sponsor. I would like to thank the partner of today's episode, Into the AM. You can pick up graphic t-shirts, 3 for $61.95. Guys, these ones fit great. I've worn it to the gym, this shirt, numerous times. It's holding up so well, and quality is always important if I'm going to refer you guys to somebody and there is quality with this product. intotheam.com/Varga10. You can save 10%, and there are so many fun graphic tees which you can get, or you can go with the basic ones for those nights out. You can head over to intotheam.com/Varga10. We're going to save 10% on your t-shirts. The first thing I want you to note about the TEEP of BUAKAW is there's a little variety in the way he throws it. He can come straight up, very similar to a front kick where he just extends with the toes straight out, but occasionally he'll bring it up and he'll turn his body sideways. We have a TEEP and a side TEEP. I call it a Thai side kick. Terminology aside, it is the same kick and it is very, very effective. So we're going to be touching on a couple different ways to throw this. Now, we are going to get to the actual technique of this kick towards the end of the episode, but for the beginning, we're going to go through some clips and just see what he is doing. So the very first clip that we see is BUAKAW executing that side TEEP, that Thai side kick. The reason I want to focus on this is the distance which he is able to create. You think he's at that safe distance and he pumps his leg up. When he extends out, he gets a little bit more range. You can see normal, a little bit more range, but he also does a minor slide with this back foot. So when he lifts, he slides forward and he just covers that extra little bit of distance. With somebody like him, it's so hard to tell if you're safe or not safe. If you rush, he jams you with it. He just stands there, boom. If you stay stationary just outside of punch range, he's gonna hit you. And if you back up a little bit more, he still can hit you with it. Now, right here, we see Andy Oligan, I believe, do something incredibly wrong. And he stands with BUAKAW just outside punch range. He's like just on the end of his punches, not able to get a lot of power because he can't follow through. But that puts him at that perfect range where BUAKAW can load up and then boom, knock him backwards. That's a terrible range to be at with a guy who has a TEEP like this. Next up, we see kickboxing legend Nicky Holtzkin get shoved backwards by BUAKAW. After BUAKAW creates the space, he then takes his lead leg, he pumps it up really high, because the higher you get your knee, the easier it is to execute up at head level. A tiny turnover, sort of into that side TEEP, and boom, and he hits him square in the face. And then if that wasn't bad enough, after taking a shot in the face, Nicky goes, okay, I'm gonna go on the attack, I'm gonna truck forward, and then BUAKAW, just a simple stop. He just stops him in his tracks right to the lower stomach. Now, I love this next sequence of kicks that we're focusing on. Other people throwing round kicks at BUAKAW. BUAKAW coming right up the center and stopping them with the front kick, but knocking them over in the process. Because when you kick, you're on one foot, and if you get hit, it's very easy to get knocked backwards. But I have a tip for you guys. Very important tip to executing this TEEP while somebody else is kicking. If you aim for their stomach, you got to be so early on getting the kick off. Basically, you have to hit them right now. Because if they start getting this rotation, you're going to hit and slide off. So what we see BUAKAW do is he goes down to the hip, to sort of that hip flexor area where it's that much easier to catch the person, and you don't have to go quite as high with your kick. So it's faster to get there. Try out that little tip. Try hitting people in the hip, even sometimes when they're just standing there. You don't have to wait for them to kick. Sometimes instead of going straight to the stomach, you just hit them in their lead hip. And you're going to get them to get knocked backwards. It's going to throw them off. Their counter shots are no good. But in this instance of somebody trying to throw a round kick, if you can catch them in the hip, either side, you're gonna have more success in my experience than going up to the body. And I wanna take a little pause to let you guys know there are only 8 days left to get registered for my defense course. This is gonna be a one-of-a-kind experience. Nobody ever focuses on defense the way that I do. And this is your opportunity to get on board and know what I know after winning and collecting all these belts after competing as a kickboxer for over 20 years. It's been a darn long time. So what you guys can do is hit the link down below. Registration ends, like doors close, March 24th. We start on the 25th. If you're not registered by then, you cannot be a part of this course. Why? Because I want everybody following along week by week as we drop more episodes and go chapter by chapter. You're not gonna miss the live calls. You're gonna be in for everything. Check it out right now. I love this fake that BUAKAW does in this teep. Normally he's out of this stance, left foot in front, but what he does here is he ends up in a different stance. Now I can't tell if he did a switch or if he just happened to throw maybe a round kick and ended up from here. It's probably that makes more sense. He's in his stance, he does his switch, he lands to here, he loads up like he's coming again, then he straightens it out and fires down the middle. And he lands this on Sato, knocks him across the ring. Against Jabbar, it's a little more subtle, but we see Jabbar not know what's coming. He kind of twitches his hand and then realizes last second, uh-oh, it's not a round kick, it's a front kick, and BUAKAW still gets that connection. You bring your foot directly below your knee as you do this one. You don't want to come up too far like this unless you're trying for what I call a snake kick, but he just simply lifts it up to here. He rolls his leg across until it hits this point, and then fires straight through. Right here we see Nicky Holtzkin trying to get some offense, some boxing combos going against BUAKAW, but having no success because BUAKAW uses his long guard in one hand, two hands posts out, deals with the shots, boom, tucks his knee really tight so he's not going to be jammed on his front kick, fires him away, gets back to the long guard, fires him away. He's utilizing the straight arms out down the middle to deal with the defense of the punches and then interrupting with the front kick. The two of those work fantastic together. If you have a good long guard and a nice front kick, you can tuck in tight and get really tight when you throw it. The guy doesn't need to be at that ideal range. You can get him here. It's going to be two things that work very well together. And for most of us, our first experience of getting to see BUAKAW really unleash these front kicks, which he's so well known for, was against Masato in 2004, K1 Max 8-man tournament final. He just unleashes the same technique over and over. Boom, takes a little step forward. Boom, he has his back leg ready, cranks it right up high, snaps it out. Such deadly kicks, and it's just absolute inspiration, at least for me, to continue to work my TEEPS. So we saw some good highlights there of BUAKAW executing those front kicks, those TEEPS, but now what I want to focus on is what is his actual technique? What is he doing? So when he throws his lead leg is about ready to pump out. Want to see what his hands are doing. His left hand swings way down. And he tips his head back very slightly. As you tip your head back, your hip pushes forward. Those two things together work very nice. But then in addition, he has his right hand locked right to his head. That stays very tight. The three of those things together, hip forward, hand down, other hand to the head, sort of creates that motion which BUAKAW has for his front kicks. He is very good at getting his knee quite high, quite close to the body when he does this. If I just keep it here, I'm going to be more snapping upwards, but he often gets a stomp through, which helps give him more power. If you guys can get your knee a little bit higher, it's going to give you a little bit more force. You're going to have to put less effort into it, and you're going to really rock your opponent backwards. Keep those little things in mind. Make sure you get a good pivot on your standing foot. Don't keep your toes pointing towards your opponent as you lift your knee. You pivot your foot. This will give you more range, open up the hips, help you with any flexibility issues you may have. BUAKAW, his teep. It's a thing of excellence. I hope you guys have an opportunity to train this, improve this, and I hope this video helped you a little bit along the road to that path. Remember, down below, Into the AM, having some awesome t-shirts for you to check out. Plus, my defense course is available for you to get registered for 8 more days. As always, guys, thank you for joining me. Train hard, and I will see you back here soon for another video.